Two great singers tonight, Mr. Chris Thompson, Mr. Noel McKenna. Two great singers tonight, Mr. Chris Thompson, Mr. Noel McCallum.
talking. If you can't hitch a ride, you better start walking. It's time. I said it's time.
Oh, get on the ball, get on the right track. No time to lose, no looking back. It's time. Ooh, I said it's time. 2, 3, 4. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if it passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. Well, the time is now, no hesitating. You got the green light. Ooh, why are you waiting? It's time. I said it's time. Talk to me, boys. I like it, I like it. Hey, hey, hey. Lord, Lord, what you gonna do if passes you by? You get left alone, you wonder why. I said the clock is ticking, there's no time for talking. If you can't hit your ride, you better start walking. It's time. He knows it's time. Get time, man. I said it's time. I mean it's time. Whip it. Yeah.
All right, everybody. It's the Michael J. Steele for Senate Show coming at you live in downtown Fargo, North Dakota. Man, we've been almost hacked off, bumped off the air about 3 times. We've lost transmission tonight because it is the big reveal. We went off the air for about 3-4 minutes. I had to get us back on. I don't know what's going on. Somebody's trying to ping us or pang us off the air here because it is the big reveal tonight. We got Zachary, I think, is in the audience here tonight. Hey, Zach, how you doing? You ready to help get this reveal out tonight? This is what everybody's waiting for.
How's it going, Mr. Steele?
Oh, it's going good. I'm getting excited here. Got a heat wave here. I'm just going to do the weather report here. And
heat wave?
We got a heat wave in Fargo, man. It's beautiful out here. Snow is melting, and things are looking
what, is it 30 degrees now? Is that your heat wave?
38 degrees today.
Oh,
38
wow.
degrees. But guess what? Here's the sad part. We have a blizzard warning from 12 a.m. today until Friday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Oh, no.
We got another blizzard. We got another blizzard coming our way. Yeah, this is insane, man. We got, I might as well do the weather report, up to the minute weather report, brought to you by Michael J. Steele for Senate. It's currently 38 degrees in Fargo, 28 degrees with the 17-mile-per-hour wind coming out the west tonight, which is pretty wild. So we got 28 degrees with that wind chill, humidity 79%. Right now it's cloudy, but we have our highways 10 miles visibility according to the North Dakota Highway Department, 29.37 inches and steady, and our dew point is 32 degrees. It's 8:29 Central Standard Time in Fargo. It's Thursday, February 10th, 2022. So that's your up-to-the-minute weather. And we got a blizzard warning right now till from 12 a.m. to Friday, and that's until Friday night at 9 a.m. So that's going to be coming in probably at noon tomorrow, and we're looking at a blizzard. So that means a lot of blowing snow and a lot of snow and wind, and probably bad driving visibility And right now the wind is at 17 miles an hour. So that's what they're predicting. A lot of snow, a lot of wind this evening. By about 1 o'clock, they figure it's going to come in tonight in the morning, 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. And the temperature is going to start dropping. So be careful if you're out there. We've already got 4 cancellations in the North Dakota here. Let's see. Dilworth, Glendon, Felton schools are closed tomorrow. Well, the buses will be they'll be letting people off probably early tomorrow, getting out of school early. Hawley Public Schools in Minnesota will be closing at 1:15. Pelican Rapids schools in Minnesota will release at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And Ada Borup schools will be releasing 2 hours late tomorrow. And February 11th, Fertile Beltrami schools will be e-learning at home. And Waubun schools, February 11th, schools and buses 2 hours late. So I did a little bit of Minnesota. So they're going to be doing some delayed busing in that in Minnesota. So that's what's going on. And we got some people coming in here. We might as well, I'll start us out, Zach. And once I'm going to present a little presentation, you can kind of maybe go over some things that we've been going through with the team up in D.C. Me and Zach
Sounds good.
We've been spending our time in D.C. trying to solve problems. Well, actually, Zach come up with a big key here of the biggest problem in North Dakota. Our GDP, our output is ranked 50th in the nation. North Dakota, my state where I'm running for Senate. And Zach did a bunch of checks, did some research, found out through an independent agency that analyzed North Dakota, this IBS, he's got the data. He can bring that out later. And he had a rise over run graph he showed, and Hoeven was our governor for 8 years, and our senator for 11 years. We ranked 50th. We're doing terrible here. But anyway, we got a plan that's going to take North Dakota from worst to first, and we're going to do something that's never been done in North Dakota. We've been working with experts in the field, Harvard graduates, Northwestern graduates. Zachary, who speaks 5 languages, going to be going in the Air Force. My chief of staff, we got Jackie's been working on. We got just a whole team. I've been working on this, because I'm a small business development guy here in North Dakota for years. I ran small businesses. I'm a small business owner right now for 5 years. I've run actually about 4 small businesses in North Dakota, and that's what I'm all about. But this right here, what we're doing is we're working on small business policy in North Dakota, and me and Zach been going out to D.C. And taking up some seminars here to learn about small business in North Dakota and throughout the United States and what it really means. And our plan for North Dakota is with our policy that what we developed for North Dakota is it's going to benefit small business owners in North Dakota. And first of all, it's going to give us, me too, I'm a small business owner. It's going to give access to new markets for small businesses in North Dakota. It's going to create expansion of existing market share, increased revenue for small businesses such as mine and many other small businesses that we're going to create here in North Dakota, more time for leisure and family, because small businesses, actually, you can have your family with you hanging out at your small business, more time for research and development, to make your small business grow and make good, wise decisions for the future. Benefits to the Democratic Party. I'm a Democrat. I'm running for United States Senate, and there's good things for the Democratic Party, more senators in the U.S. Senate. There's access to small business voters, access to small business donors, access to rebuild the middle class. This is a big thing now with what we're doing in North Dakota. With the policies we're going to be implementing throughout North Dakota, there's going to be access to rebuild the middle class in North Dakota, because right now it's coming down where you got the haves and the have-nots, and we want everybody to become haves. And we want to have people that are business owners to have more and have businesses. And we want to emulate this model in other states once we get this up and running in North Dakota. We want to be kind of a leader in the industry in North Dakota and turn our model from worst, make North Dakota right now at 50th, make us from worst to first is our plan. And we're going to be introducing Small Business Committee in the State Assembly and Senate. Do you hear that? This is our reveal. Right now, we're revealing our plan. We're going to be, and what we're doing is we're going to be introducing Small Business Committee in State Assembly and the Senate. We don't have a Small Business Committee in the North Dakota State Assembly and Senate, which is our House and Senate in North Dakota. We don't have one. And we're going to create one. Michael J. Steele has a plan for North Dakota, and we're going to create a committee in our state assembly in North Dakota, and we're going to work with the federal level to get funding to help, and we're going to co-sponsor this and make this a winning model for North Dakota. We're going to also be introducing anti-formula businesses in towns and introducing anti-monopoly policy where no more than 30% of the state market is in the hands of a single corporation, okay? Because if it gets more than 30%, it becomes a monopoly, and some of these companies in North Dakota are doing that. We're going to stop that because it's illegal. We're going to be partnering with innovative centers to help small firms enter the market, okay? That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reaching out while I'm your senator and partnering with innovation centers to help small firms enter the market. And I'm going to be introducing legislation to incentivize small organic farming, because we got a lot of farmers out there, small farms, and we want to incentivize these small organic farmers that are small businesses, and we want to get them and give them incentives to incentivize them to get their their products on the market out there. And we're going to try to get them some funding and some grants and anything we can to help get this middle class built back up again here in North Dakota. And also, here's a good one for you guys. I know you're going to love this. Small business health insurance companies right here in North Dakota. It's going to help small business. Not only it's going to bring your price of your insurance down. It's also going to bring health insurance to small businesses that can't afford it, because right now insurance companies cater to big corporations, and that's kind of the only way to get it. But we're going to bring small business health insurance companies to North Dakota where you can get good deals for your insurance. So that's the big reveal right there. Zach, could you give them some of your input and maybe some pros? This is pro, because we don't have this in North Dakota, and this is what we've been working on. Anything you'd like to add, Zach?
Well, by having the small business committee, what's going to end up happening is that we're going to have smaller businesses that are going to be able to talk for themselves for the first time in North Dakota. They're going to be able to explain the issues that they're facing right now and how we can solve them.
Right on. Yeah, they'll have a voice finally in North Dakota. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be there to represent that voice, mm-hmm. And that's going to be the incentive. We're going to incentivize them too, and we're going to work together with the small business and innovative centers to help small firms mm-hmm. enter the market too, to sell their products, and that'll give them access to rebuild the middle class and mm-hmm. access to small business donors. See, there'll be small business donors that'll help them invest to build these smaller companies up. Mm-hmm. It means financial freedom, and it means real unlimited earning potential. And that's what I talk about on my show quite a bit, is a lot of these companies you go to work for, they cap you out. Like a lady I know worked for a tractor plant here in Fargo 28 years. They told her, well, you know everything. They capped this poor woman on $17 an hour. They said, well, that's it. That's all you're ever going to make. She wanted to get a raise, and they said, well, you're going to make 17 unless you want to go to the other tractor plant. They could probably get you up maybe $27 an hour. And so she wound up believing she's going to Minneapolis. She's going to get 30-something bucks an hour at a tractor plant in Minneapolis. So she's taken off. She's been here 28 years. She said, I'm out of here. I'm leaving the area. We want to keep people here with these skills and the training that this lady's got. Keep them right here. But if you own your own businesses, I mean, unlimited earning. You can make $100, $200, $300 an hour running a small business. There's times I've made $1,500, $2,000 an hour doing what I do, I'm an American picker, you know. I mean, you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it, and it's possible, you know, but you have to have ownership. And you're not going to do it working for a corporation when they're telling you we're going to cap you out at $17, $20 an hour. You know, that's it. And like I say, this is going to help rebuild the middle class. It's going to help small businesses get insurance, you know, and that's something that we're going to try to do, and we're going to do it because small business health insurance companies, we're going to bring them into the state. And also we're going to help chiropractors maintain their quality of life, because we have been talking to these experts saying that businesses right now that don't have insurance or health insurance, they can't afford to go to a doctor and pay $350, say a farmer or something, a small farmer. He can afford to pay a chiropractor, you know, $30 to $50 for a treatment, but he can't spend $350 when he doesn't have health insurance to go see a doctor. But he can pay a chiropractor $35, $40, $50 for a treatment. So we're going to go out, and there's that's a small business, chiropractic. We're going to try to protect our chiropractors too in North Dakota. And we were talking about that too, and that's a profession you could get into. That's a small business.
Now, what sort of qualifications are you going to be proposing that people have in order to join this committee? Like, is it going to be a respected member of the community within, like, the subsect? Is it going to be like...
Well, a committee's government. This is a government committee, Zach. This will be a committee that'll be brought right in through the legislature. It'll be a legislative body through the state legislature, and that's how this will be brought into it. And that'll be brought in with our people, our lawyers up in D.C. we're dealing with. Will help us draft these things out and help us get it to the state legislatures. That's our people in D.C. are going to be working on that, which we're going to the symposium to get this further. So we don't want to get the horse ahead of the cart too far, you know, or the cart ahead of the horse or whatever. So they're going to be working on that, Zachary, and that's something. This is the reveal, but they're going to be working on the logistics and all the nuts and bolts. That's got to be something that that stuff will work out. This is just what's going to happen. And they contact the state legislatures. They tell us what we're planning to help them with, what we're going to do. And they get that all done with the legalities. That's what the lawyers do that with us. And they tell them, hey, this is our plan. They propose it. And this is what we want to do. And they draft it. Well, we help them draft it. You know, well, this is our plan. We worked on it, but they come up with the final thing. It goes to the legislatures. And it goes to committee, and we propose it, and it becomes a regular committee through the organization that we're working with in D.C. too, because they have power to actually draft this up too. They're doing this as we speak. So it'll be the Steel team with the other team we're working with, the small business policy team up there in D.C. that we've been working with. We'll work in unison with them, kind of a joint committee that we work with them. And they'll work together with us in the state. But we have 5 more weeks to go in the seminar to get all that stuff, all the kinks and all that worked out. And that's what we're going to work out. And we're going to be going to the seminar next Tuesday, and we're going to be writing this legislation with them, Zach. So we don't want to get too far ahead of that. It ain't going to be people coming in off the street doing this. These are going to be the regular legislatures in there. Regular people that are already in government, and we just get this in and we get this implemented in North Dakota. And if not, we do it at a federal level. If the state of North Dakota don't do it, I implement it as a senator at the federal level, you know, which we can do it as a federal level, and it kind of gets bonded into the state anyway. You know, if the state don't do it, the state legislatures don't want to work with it, which they'd be fools not to, because they don't have this. North Dakota does not have any of this stuff we're talking about right now. And if they want to stay at 50th place and they want to stay and if the worst they are, then they can stay there. But we can do this at the federal level too if they don't want to work with us. But I don't see any reason they won't, because our team is going to show them what we're doing right now. And I believe we got it. And because we're going to be introducing this to them and showing them our strategy and our plan. We got the plan. It's here. It's just we got to write the proposals and that. And that's what our team in DC is doing. And we'll be doing that next week at the symposium in DC. Does that help you, Zach?
Yeah. I just kind of was wondering, like who would make up the committee, or would businesses come and speak in front of the committee?
Well, we're going to have. Well, me and you are going to be meeting a bunch of business people in DC
On Tuesday?
next week. Well, yeah, that's what our team's working on now. Getting those business leaders in North Dakota are going to be there at the symposium next week. So they're going to be showing what I've done and you've done and what we've come up with. They're going to be showing them our plan right now. And they're going to be getting 30 business leaders of North Dakota that are going to be at our next meeting in DC. I don't know if they'll be at Zoom or Skype, but they'll be there and see if they approve this. And then if we can get these people to approve this, they'll try to say, hey, we want to see this in North Dakota too, you know. So these will be business leaders that will try to get our legislatures in North Dakota to go for it too, you know. But right now, this is our baby. We're the authors of this. It was our idea. We've got attorneys. We got the patent on this idea right now, so we don't want nobody stealing it, you know. And if I don't get elected, they can steal it, and more power to them if it helps my state. I don't care who gets the credit for this, really. I could give a shit less, because if it takes us from worst to first, fantastic. But I think we should get some credit for it, and I think we will, because we're announcing it over the airwaves right now. We've got our team working on it, our legal people and everything. So I just don't want you to get too confused. This is the reveal tonight. Don't worry about the committee work. The committees work together to work all the hard stuff out, the drafting, the lawyers, the attorneys, legislators. They work all this hard stuff out. This is essentially what it's going to do here, Zach. It's going to benefit small business owners. It's going to give them access to new markets. It's going to give them expansion of existing market share, increased revenue, more time for leisure and family, more time for research and development. It's going to benefit both Democratic and Republican parties in the state of North Dakota. It's going to give them access to small business voters, access to small business donors, access to rebuild the middle class. And it's going to emulate models in other states once our program takes off in North Dakota, because they don't have this model here. And once our model takes off here, everybody in other states are going to try to adopt this model. And also it's going to introduce small business committee. What we're going to do, we're going to introduce we want to put a small business committee in North Dakota's state legislature in the House and Senate. We don't have a committee here. We're going to bring a committee here. Okay. We don't know who's on that committee yet. We haven't gone through that yet. We don't know. That's something we're going to figure that out. That's going to be taken care of, and we're going to work with our team in Washington, and we're going to discuss that next week. We're going to be introducing an anti-formula business in towns. Now, let's let Zach not get too far ahead of ourselves, okay? This is what we're going to do. We're going to introduce anti-formula business in towns. We're going to be introducing anti-monopoly policy, where no more than 30% of the state market is in the hands of a single corporation, because then that's illegal. And anybody out there that's doing that now, that's a monopoly. That's against Sherman antitrust laws. You're violating the law. We're going to be partnering with innovation centers to help small firms enter the market. According to Doug Burgum, he's going to be creating 24 career centers in North Dakota. We could possibly be partnering with his 24 career centers to help small firms enter the market. We could recruit from his 24 career centers to get these people to enter the small business markets after he gives them training. He says he's going to spend educational training dollars in North Dakota to create 24 educational training centers to give people advanced training. That could be computer software sales, whatever. And we're going to be introducing legislation to incentivize small organic farming in North Dakota, okay, where it's not going to be ran by just the big corporate big boys here, okay? We are going to incentivize small organic farming, which we got a lot of that in North Dakota, okay? And we want to incentivize small organic farmers in North Dakota, And we want to give small business health insurance companies in North Dakota, which, as our team discussed, there are, I think, one other state's doing this, very successful, but we want to do it here in North Dakota because we want to give them we want to have small insurance companies here to bring down the price. Right now, as we discussed in all of our meetings in DC, small businesses are paying a substantial amount of money each month for their insurance, but we want to make sure we can get them an insurance policy that they can afford and still stay in business. And that's something we're going to be trying to get federal grant money to do that. As a senator, I can do that. I can get money, a lot of money to do this, but I need your help to get me elected. But that's where we're going to be. We got 5 more weeks to work with our team in DC to get all this, to get this all worked out through our committee. We're working with 2 committees right now. My committee, the committee to get Michael J. Still elected. That's my committee right now. Michael J. Still's 527 and 501 campaign committees to get me elected. There's a committee there, and then we're going to be working with another committee that's doing the seminars where we go and we meet with another committee that's in DC, and we work with these 2 committees are working together hand in hand in unison to fix this problem in North Dakota. And that's what we're doing right now, Zach, and I kind of hope you understand that now, and we'll work out all the logistics and all the details, and that'll be what we do, That's what we're going to be working on the next 5 weeks, which will be this legislation and this, what we bring to the state, the proposal. But this is the reveal right now. This is what we're doing. It's actually creating small business policy, which North Dakota does not have. And we're going to be bringing this committee, a small business committee in North Dakota. We don't have a small business committee in North Dakota. 0, nada, none. And we need it. And once we get this committee implemented here in North Dakota, then we can get some federal funding, state funding. We can get a committee. We can work with smaller businesses. We can get it organized. We can get a lot of things done. We can rebuild the middle class. We can get a lot of our things to market. And I think then we can just rock and roll from there on out, and we can get a lot of things done. But we got to get this committee going in the state legislature and the state Senate. And it's also going to help small business. It's not going to be for the big corporations. It's not right now. The markets are pretty much in North Dakota are in corporations' power. And this is going to be helping the small businesses where it's going to give them a voice, give them some power. I'm a small business person. This is going to give us a voice, give us some power, and not only North Dakota, but in the United States and the world. And if our model works, we're actually protecting the middle class, and we're protecting business. A lot of the business in the United States is small business, but we don't want the corporations to come in and absorb everything because that takes away competition. The more small businesses we have, the more competition we have, and the more fair practices that we have in the United States, and I could talk about, there's so many laws right now of, Sherman antitrust laws. We got a lot of laws, this is how you stop your Bernie Madoffs, you stop your Enrons. You stop a lot of your corrupt Ponzi schemes by having small businesses. You can really do that by having small business. And people have more people are in the game. People have a vested interest. There's more equity involved here. And it frees up a lot of the smaller banks can help lend. Credit unions, smaller banks can lend to the small businesses, which they love to do. And a lot of people that are unemployed, it creates a lot of jobs, and like I say, it's unlimited earning potential, and it's a lot more freedom, and people have room for growth. You could be that big, become that big company down the road. You have a lot of room for expansion, a lot of growth, and you just don't sit there and let the big corporations keep absorbing everything. And then once they keep absorbing everything, they become a monopoly. And then we start having problems, and then you start seeing I don't know, there's people right now that are complaining. I'm hearing a lot of complaints about God, I don't even know if I should say it, in Fargo here. I want to get this story straight here. Let me see if I have this written down here. They were talking about Amazon lately here, about how the wages aren't keeping up with the money that these people are making, and there's some problems going on with Amazon's workers right now. But they're not happy with the wages and the benefits they're getting. I guess it's not very good, and people aren't very happy with them. I was just reading an article how they're kind of not treating their employees very well. And that's what happens when you have big corporations. You become a number when you work for the big corporations, and they're making these record profits and all that, and then they start cutting hours, cutting wages, start downsizing, because their bottom line is the shareholders. They got to keep their shareholders happy. And when it starts getting, when the stocks start plummeting and sales go down, and maybe there's a problem, the first person that they get rid of or the wages they cut are usually the workers, because they are there in business to keep the shareholders happy and keep that stock price up, and it's usually the workers are the ones that are going to suffer. And if that's any big corporation, well, when you have a small business, it doesn't operate that way. Small businesses, when they make money, you make money. When the company makes money, you usually get raises. The effort you put into a small business is what you get back. And when there's corporate greed, that's what hurts the employees, because the big people up top, they want more money, and there's more greed, and then it starts hurting because they're taking way too much out of, because if they start taking, the stock owners and the big boys at the top start taking way more out, and the top gets a little top heavy, they're taking way more money out at the top than what the company's actually making at the bottom or in the middle. Then they get top heavy, and then these companies start caving in on themselves from the top down. They start imploding, and that's where a lot of these corporations go broke. But rather than the boys at the top or the ladies at the top lose money, they let these corporations take these golden parachutes, and these CEOs take millions out. And everybody at the bottom suffers, and that's the workers, by getting their hours cut, by losing their jobs, by layoffs. But that doesn't happen in the small business. You're more protected in a small business, and that's the benefits of what we're doing right now. And small business is kind of the backbone of America, and this is the American way. And that's why it is crucial that we get these committees in North Dakota. Is there anything you'd like to add, Zach? I guess that's kind of the big reveal here. It's actually
No,
exciting.
I agree with you, and we're definitely going to have to be working more and more on this with the seminars, and as well as the people up in Washington.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what's going on right now. We're doing this for North Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
We are in worst place where our GDP is at. Is anything's better than what we got now, even if we don't go from worst to first. If we can get from 50th to maybe the top 10, we've done something in North Dakota, And like I say, we're going to have benefits to small business owners. We're going to have access to new markets. With North Dakota, evidently hasn't had any new markets because we've been stagnant for 20 years under the leadership of John Hoeven, And with this plan, we're going to have access to new markets, expansion of existing market share, increased revenue, more time for leisure and family, more time for research and development, which our Democrats, when they were in power here, Byron Dorgan and Kent Conrad, they were doing all this stuff. Everything I'm talking about, once they got out and John Hoeven took over, everything just kind of went to crap here, So once we get this small business committee in the state legislature and the state house here, the state assembly, we're going to be introducing an anti-formula business in towns, and then this anti-monopoly policy where no more than 30% of the state market is in the hands of a single corporation. See, this is what we don't want. You don't want more than 30% of the state market in the hands of a single corporation, or you have a monopoly. And partnering with innovation centers to help small farms enter the market. Our small firms, our farms enter the market. And that's with John Hoeven, our governor, Republican governor, is going to be introducing. Well, he already introduced 24 innovative centers, career centers, and that's where we could partner with his innovative centers, career centers, to have small firms enter the market. And we'll be introducing this legislation to incentivize small organic farming, and people are into that right now. Believe it or not, even a lot of the Republicans up here are into organic because it's healthier for you, and you can go back to manure. I remember as a kid, everybody was doing organic. This was big in the 50s. And for some reason, because we started selling food overseas and all that, they wanted things to get to market faster. And they actually, when you have organic, it's healthier for you, but we wanted to up our production to beat other countries, to sell to China and all that. We were in the 50s in competition with Russia and all these other countries. So what we did, we wanted to speed up production. And so we started using chemicals to grow this food instead of organic, cow manure, and healthy ways to do it. Now, a lot of our farmers are saying, hey, this stuff is healthier for us. Let's go organic, because our kids and we want people to be healthier. So now everybody's going back to the trend of organic. So this is just perfect right now, what we're doing. And we can get everybody in North Dakota that are organic farmers, and we can incentivize these organic farms and get them to market. So, and then by creating these small business health insurance companies in North Dakota, the farmers who've had a problem with getting, farmers have a problem getting Social Security. I don't know if you're aware of that. They have a problem with getting health insurance. Okay, that's been like that for years. My ex-wife's dad was a farmer. He's 94. He farmed till he was about 90 years old. So I know a lot about farming in Castleton, North Dakota, by just hanging around with my ex-wife's dad and all that, and being around farmers. I know farming in North Dakota. A lot of the poor farmers have problems getting Social Security and getting health insurance and a lot of things like that in North Dakota. Believe it or not, if you look at the laws, it's kind of sad for farmers. They make good money when they have good yields and crops, but certain things they are very limited on, and that's Social Security and some other government programs. And everybody thinks, well, they get this, that, and the other, but sometimes they don't, and when they go to retire, sometimes they don't have that much money. But I think if we get this organic farming thing and get these things going for the farmers in North Dakota, they're going to be better off for their retirement and stuff, and they're going to be making a little more money, and especially with their Social Security, they'll have something to retire on here too, because there are problems with farmers that for Social Security. There's some loopholes in there that harm farmers, and there's some problems with health care too, believe it or not, for some farmers in North Dakota and throughout a lot of the farming rural communities, because they go to work for the government, and farming is subsidy. There's some subsidies going on, but there are some problems there too, and there's some loopholes that hurt the farmers, believe it or not. So we're going to try to work with the farmers to where they can benefit with these plans that we're working on, instead of being taken advantage of or losing money by helping the government. Sometimes they lose, like they got CPA land where they set this land aside for not farming, and then sometimes they lose money by not farming. And then the farmers said, well, we want to use our CPA land in North Dakota. So they were going to use it. And then all of a sudden we got a flood when the government said, yeah, go ahead, we'll let you use this CPA land. And guess what? It flooded that year, and all their crops flooded out. So they didn't get any CPA money. The year they decided to farm it, they got wiped out, didn't get their money. So they said, well, shoot, we got to go back to letting that land set again, because we were better off getting the government money by doing this land set aside, the CPA farm land set aside, where they get $30,000 for so many hectares or acres to let land just kind of sit there, and it reproduces the soil, and it goes naturally, preserves the soil and everything. It's kind of a government program to rejuvenate the soil. And so now then they said, well, we're going to have to do that. But it was kind of wild. They said, well, we can make more money farming it in North Dakota. Then when they went to farm the land, they wind up getting wiped out and didn't get any money. Then they didn't even have their CPA money. So, I mean, sometimes it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But we got to try to put some protections in there with organic farmers where they don't get screwed because of the weather and droughts and flooding. But I think we're going to be okay when we get these proposals out, because it's going to be a lot better than they are now. There is no protections there. There is no committee for farmers and organic farmers, and there's no protections at all. This will grant protection, and this will grant small business protections too, and it could get some more federal funding, and it'll get some help here and incentivize people to do this, and also it'll help get people insurance. It'll bring down insurance money, and there's a need here for small businesses to get insurance because there are no, it's dang hard. I know a guy right now who owns a karaoke company in Fargo, and $1,200 a month they told him for just him to get insurance per month. And the guy's not making that kind of money. Say he makes $3,000 a month doing karaoke by himself, and he's got to fork out $1,200 of that. You know, $1,200 out of $3,000, that knocks him down a lot of money. You know, and left over for travel time, expenses, paying his other help that he has to bring with him to set up lights and stage shows and all that. You know, gas, travel. You know, and then he's got to fork out $1,200 a month premium to insurance. You know, that's not leaving him much money. And then if his car breaks down and he's got to pay his bills and all that, you know, so we got to try to get these premiums down for these small business owners, you know, and that's just what we're going to try to do. And that's why if we get these plans initiated, there's state and federal money that'll kick in, because right now these corporations, they get discounts because they have multiple employees. So the more employees you have, the better discount your corporation gets, you know, and if your employees are from the age of like 18 to 26 years old, you get a really good discount. If they're non-smokers, you get a better discount. And if they're healthy, never had an accident, blah, blah, blah. And if they're married, you get a better discount. Well, we got to offer people that are small business owners a good insurance program too, that they can afford, instead of just taking them to the cleaners, because, you know, people need to be able to have insurance, and they need to be able to survive and live too, and take care of their businesses. Trust me, I run businesses. I know these things, but I know we can do it once we get these things rolling with the government and the legislation. The money comes in, everybody's going to be taken care of, and everybody's got a voice. And this is what it's going to do. It's going to give us all a voice. Zach, anything you want to add to this? I think we've done our reveal. And I think it shows we got a plan. The other guys evidently have no plan, because it's been the same old song and dance in North Dakota for the last 50 years, and nothing's been done. Nothing. All they're doing is depending on boom and bust big oil to save the day, and it's not doing it, you know. And that's because we have all these children here that are living in poverty, and we got a lot of people that move to this state and then leave. We want people to come here, stay here. Most of the kids that come here, go to school, get educated here, they leave. But I think if we have these opportunities that we're going to be creating with the state and federal legislation, they're going to stay here. We're going to create opportunities for we got colleges all over North Dakota. We're a college town where I'm at, Fargo. We got NDSU, you know, we got colleges all over Fargo, and we want to keep people here. This will do it. With these innovative small business centers, organic farming centers, you know, we can do it right now. And there's a bunch of money that Joe Biden's kicking out for 10 years too, for educational small business opportunities and innovation. And there's going to be a lot of grant money kicking out. So right now would be the time to start what we're starting, because a lot of people can get involved. Hey, Shannon, how you doing? Shannon's in here, I think. There's a lot of chat going on. I haven't even looked at the chat bar. I'm just so excited about what we've been working on. And we're going to be fine-tuning this thing, too, up in D.C. with everybody. So that's what we're going to be doing when we get up there in Washington, D.C. I don't know where Zachary went. I think he had to go somewhere. I don't know what's going on. Let's see what everybody's talking about here. Wow, we got a lot of messages on here. I'm just going to start going down the line here with this. Was the reveal. Let's see, the reveal. Got a lot of people in the studio. Okay. Oh, Just C says, if you hired me as your campaign manager, you'd win. And Michael Keys, blah, 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 starting trouble here. Let's see what he says. Several, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm glad you like the show, Michael Key. Let's see here. I don't know if this is a good Michael Key or not, because we get one Michael Key gets on here and just puts like all this really mean stuff on here. But so I'm just trying to determine if this is the good Michael Key or not. Let's see what he's got here. Okay, I guess it's just guest talking. Well, there's going to be oversight here, Michael Key, when we're doing this, and there's going to be government set-aside money. Oh, okay, Zach said, Mr. Seal, something just came up for me. I will have to see if I can come back on a little later. Okay, yeah, Zach works 2 jobs, this guy. He is so busy, my chief of staff. I mean, and I understand that. He told me he was going to be working tonight. He probably had to get back to work. So let's see. Been like that since the ACA was passed. Ring my bell, ding dong ding. Let's see here. Common sense. I'm just reading what everybody's writing. No biggie after maybe. Shannon Lynn Jordan share the live show. Thank you, Shannon. Let's see. I'm just trying to read what everybody wrote here. What everybody's got going on here. Okay, I think I'm caught up. This is the real Michael Key, not the troll who stole his identity. Okay, this is the real Michael Key. Good. Well, I never know, Shannon. There's this Michael Key guy that gets on here and loves the KKK and hates African Americans, and he hates gay people. He just writes some horrible stuff on my board here on this Podbeam. So I just never know which one this is, you know. So I have to always be checking this board out, and yeah. So I guess Zach's gone, but that's what's going on. You got to know the reveal, and we got a couple good guests that are going to be coming on. Hopefully our martial art, my head of my security team will be coming on here pretty soon. And I got a news story here right now. We can go into some news real quick, I guess. Seattle man. Let's see what's going on here. I've been having some technical issues now. I don't know what's going on. A Seattle man who punched 2 police officers during last year's riot at the U.S. Capitol was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment today as the Justice Department reached a milestone in one of the largest federal investigations in American history. Well, he only got 6 months. You know, some of these people are getting 5 years. So he punched 2 cops, and this guy only got 6 months. He didn't get crap. There's people that are getting 5-6 years out of this insurrection. You know, Mark Leffingwell, he's my age, 52-year-old military veteran. Wow, just like I said, most of these people are veterans that were up there, state senators, former law enforcement, former military. He's a 52-year-old military veteran who was wounded in Iraq, is at least the 100th person to be sentenced after pleading guilty. He's another one, okay, he's the 100th one that pleaded guilty to Capitol riot-related charge. See, they're all pleading guilty. These people, according to Associated Press review of court records, he pled guilty. The judge who sentenced Leffingwell pushed back on recent Republican National Committee resolution that accused the congressional committee investigating the January 6th attack of leading a persecution of ordinary citizens engaged in a legitimate political discourse. U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson lamented that mainstream news outlets are still amplifying the lie that the 2020 presidential election was illegitimate and stolen from President Donald Trump. And worse, it has become hearsay for a member of the former president's party to say otherwise. The judge said it needs to be crystal clear that it is not patriotism. It is not standing up for America. It is not legitimate political discourse, and is not justified to descend on the nation's capital at the direction of a disappointed candidate and disrupt the electoral process. More than 730 people have been charged with federal crimes stemming from the riot on January 6, 2021. 210 of them have pleaded guilty. Okay, 210 of these people now have pled guilty, mostly to misdemeanors with a maximum sentence of 6 months, like the guy that punched 2 cops. He's lucky. Leffenwell is the 5th rider to be sentenced for assaulting a police officer at the Capitol. The other 4 received prison sentences ranging from 41 to 63 months in prison for punching police officers. So he's getting off pretty light, guys, 6 months. Some other ones got 63 months. Leffenwell told Jackson that he was embarrassed and ashamed at what he had done that day. It was something I planned to do, he said, looking back on it. I think my life was a nightmare after this. Jackson also sentenced Leffenwell to 2 years of supervised probation and ordered him 200 hours of community service once he serves his 6 months. The judge sentenced Leffenwell to a significant shorter prison term than the other rioters who assaulted police officers. Jackson said she considered the possibility because he was a veteran and he had a disability, and he did get compensation payments that will become reduced if he is convicted of a felony and if he does go to prison for more than 60 days. So this judge was pretty cool. If this guy would have got more than 60 days in jail, and if she'd have gave him more than a misdemeanor, he would have lost all of his military pension. So this judge did this guy, this veteran who's disabled, a huge favor. Okay, folks? This judge is a dang nice judge. She could have ruined this guy's life, and she decided not to, okay? So I commend this judge right here. So anybody says anything bad about this judge is not a nice person at all. This judge is a really, really good judge that sentences Leffenwell. So bless her heart for that, helping a veteran keep his pension, you know. U.S. inflation right now hits highest in 40 years with no let-up in sight. Washington Associated Press today, inflation soared over the past year at its highest rate in 4 decades, hammering American consumers, wiping out every pay raise and reinforcing the Federal Reserve's decision to begin raising borrowing rates across the country. The Labor Department said today the consumer prices jumped 8% last month compared with a year earlier, the steepest year-over-year increase since February 1982, when measured from December to January. Inflation was at 0.6%, the same as the previous month and more than economists had expected. Prices rose 0.7% from October to November and 0.9% from September to October. Shortages of supplies and workers, heavy doses of federal aid, ultra-low interest rates, and robust consumer spending combined to send inflation leaping in the past year, and there are a few signs that will slow significantly anytime soon. Wages are rising at the fastest pace in the last 20 years, which can pressure companies to raise prices to cover higher labor costs. Ports and warehouses are now overwhelmed with hundreds of workers at the Port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which are the nation's busiest ports. Many people are out sick last month. Many products and parts remain in short supply as a result. The latest inflation data suggests to some economists that the Fed could raise its key rate in March by 0.5 percentage point rather than its typical quarter-point hike. James Bullard, the president of St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank, told Bloomberg News that he supported a sharp increase of full percentage point in the benchmark short-term interest rate by July. Over time, higher rates will raise the cost for a wide range of borrowing, from mortgages and credit cards to auto and business loans. That could cool spending and inflation. But for the Fed, the decision to steadily tighten credit could also trigger another recession. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell signaled 2 weeks ago that the central bank would likely raise its benchmark short-term rate multiple times this year. Stock prices declined after the inflation report was released and fell further after Bullard's remarks. The broad S&P 500 index fell 1.3% in afternoon trading. The yield on the 10-year bond jumped 2.3%, a sign that investors see more federal hikes ahead. Prices for a broad range of goods and services accelerated from December to January, not just for items directly affected by the pandemic. Apartment rental costs rose 0.5% in January, the fastest pace in 20 years. Electricity prices surged 4.2% in January alone, the sharpest rise in 15 years, and are up 10.7% from a year earlier. Last month, household furniture and supplies rose 1.6%, the largest one-month increase on record dating back to 1967. Food costs driven by pricier eggs, cereal, and dairy products increased 0.9% in January. New car prices, which have jumped during the pandemic because of a shortage of computer chips, were unchanged last month, but are up at 12.2% from a year ago. The surge in new car prices has in turn accelerated used car prices. They rose 1.5% in January and are up a dizzying 4% from a year ago, 41% from a year ago. Can you believe that? Car prices are up 41% from a year ago. Oh, my Lord. Just as price pressures in some areas ease, inflation in other parts of the economy is picking up, said Sarah House, economist at Wells Fargo. The upshot is that inflation is likely to remain uncomfortably high. The steady rise in prices has left many Americans less able to afford food, gas, rent, child care, and other necessities. More broadly, inflation has emerged as the biggest risk factor for the economy and as a serious threat to Joe Biden and congressional Democrats as midterm elections loom later this year. Among Americans who are struggling with pricier food and gas is Courtney Lucky, who has changed her shopping habits and taken additional work shifts at a grocery store in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she lives. Lucky, 33, used to be able to fill up a grocery cart for $100. Now she said $100 barely fills half the cart. Tomatoes have reached $5 a pound, which I think is ridiculous. Lucky switched to canned tomatoes as began using coupons for Family Dollar and Food Lion to help pay bills. She has also picked up more hours at Harris Teeter grocery store, but the store is 30 minutes from her house, so she had to spend more on gas. All of her forced additional spending has caused Lucky to pull back on family activities, such as bowling with her daughter, her brother, and her two sons. Those outings now typically happen once a month rather than every week or two. In the past year, sharp increases in the cost of gas, food, autos, and furniture have up in many other American budgets too. In December, economists at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School estimated that the average household has spent $3,500 more in 2020 to buy an identical basket of goods and services. Small businesses also struggle to deal with higher costs for supplies and labor. I'll testify to that. Julio Ortiz, the owner of Gazpacho's, which sells fruit chips, smoothies, and coffees in Sacramento, said he had to raise prices 6% on average in November. For some items, prices rose 10%. We've seen a spike in pricing for fruits, vegetables, cups, and plates. He said his company uses compositable packaging, but much of the items come from overseas and has been stuck on ships that haven't been unloaded yet. Even excluding volatile food and energy prices, so-called core inflation jumped 0.6% from December to January, 6% from a year ago. Many corporations in conference calls with investors have said they expect supply shortages to persist until at least the second half of this year. Chipotle said it increased menu prices 10% to offset the rising cost of beef and transportation, as well as high employee wages. And the restaurant chain said it will consider further price increases if inflation keeps rising. We keep thinking that beef is going to level up and then go down, and it just hasn't happened yet, said John Harding, the company's chief financial officer. Executives at Chipotle, as well as Starbucks and some other consumer-facing companies, have said their customers so far don't seem fazed by the higher prices they're charging. Levi Strauss & Co. raised prices last year by 7% above 2019 levels because of rising costs, including labor and plans to do so again this year. Even so, the San Francisco-based company has upgraded its sales forecast for 2022. Right now, every single we are seeing is positive CEO Chip Bergh told analysis. So there you go, a little bit of what's going on in the economy. That staying inflation is kind of hurting us pretty bad. When are we going to get back to normal? Hopefully we will soon. See here, what time is it? It is 1:25 on the Michael J. Steele for Senate show. And Class 1 Pro said it'll never get back to normal. Probably not, huh? We're probably stuck. We just got to figure out a way to survive from day to day. Pook is in the house. Shannon is in the house. We got a lot of people in the house. Phone lines are open. If anybody wants to call in, we'd like to hear from you on the Michael J. Steele for Senate show. Biden right now, our president, is urging Canada to use federal powers to close powers to clear border blockade right now. The Biden administration's told Canada just today to use federal powers to ease the disruption in the Canadian border caused by protests against anti-coronavirus mandates, which blocked a vital U.S.-Canadian trade route. White House officials said U.S. Homeland Security, Mayorkas, and Transportation Security Buttigieg each spoke with their Canadian counterparts, urging them to use federal powers to resolve the situation at our borders, the officials said. So that's what's kind of going on right now because it's affecting our trade routes. And I know when I reported yesterday, it's taken an American trucker about another 4.5 hours to get around these blockades just to get their goods in and out of Canada because they got to go a ways away to get in. They can get into Canada. It just takes them 4.5 hours to go around these big blockades. So it is disrupting everything. So they want to just try to get this stuff in and out of Canada and the United States faster right now. So we get some kind of normalization at the borders back to normal. Let's see here. Oh, wow, I just had a power outage here in my building here. I hope I'm still on the air here. I don't know if I am. I think we're out of power. I have no idea. Are we on the air or not? Maybe we are. I hope I'm on the air still here. We just had a big power outage in my building. All the lights are out. Everything is out here. And it's 9:30 at night, and I have no power in my office or anywhere here right now. Wow. So hopefully, I don't know who turned the damn power out on me here. Well, we got about a half an hour to go. I think the show's still going here. I'm on battery power. So hopefully we can stay on the network here. And hopefully we'll get power back on in the building here. And someone's going to have to hopefully get me some power back on in this dang building here. I don't know why we got a power, unless somebody in the break room hit the wrong breaker in my building, in my office, in my studio here. Probably one of these maintenance guys. They come to work half drunk half the time. I see them. They look like they're half schnockered, and they don't know what they're doing. Unless somebody's playing a joke on me here in the studio. But I think I'm on air. If somebody could send me a message or something, let me know if we got power or not. But I'm just probably running off battery power. Thank God I got battery power in my studio right now. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think I'm off the network. But I probably got a little bit of battery power here. So that's good. I think I do have battery power. If anybody can write to me or do something, I'm going to see if I can play a song here. See what happens here. Yeah, maybe I'm off air. I think I got knocked off air tonight. Huh. I think we're knocked off the freaking air. Alrighty, let's see if we're on air now. See if I can get back on air. Huh. Whoop, whoop, doo, doo, doo. It must be still going live. Hmm.